and they really fucking matter. There's like 4 things that matter, and they really fucking matter. I mean, objectively, I mean, you should care, especially you, if you thought about it for 5 fucking minutes.
Welcome to episode 47 of the Outer Voices podcast. We are your hosts, Keem and Esme. What was the good Lord for?
Can you believe this is episode 47?
No.
That's what I said good Lord for.
We should have planned something special for episode 50, but we didn't. We got time, though.
We got weeks. There's weeks before episode 50. What are you talking about?
There are like 3 weeks.
Yeah, like I said, weeks. Oh my God. Anyway,
we are back after missing an episode because Esme was dying this time.
Oh my God, guys, I had no voice. You could not have heard me. My voice still isn't totally back. My singing voice can fuck off right now.
This flu and winter season has been kicking our ass.
Yeah, I'm really glad I just had a head cold and not the flu. I've got I've had students of mine who have been out for like a week and a half with the flu.
It is rocking people.
It sucks.
My God. But now
so stay healthy, stay safe.
Yeah, stay healthy, stay safe, avoid people.
That's my strategy. Actually, I can't do that because of my job, but that's okay. Wash your hands frequently.
Right.
Stay hydrated. Take care of yourself.
Eat.
Eat. Yes, Keem, eat.
Yeah, see, Keem has other issues right now and Keem hasn't been eating properly. So
everybody
hopefully hopefully episode 47 won't be Keem's last episode alive.
I doubt it. It takes more than some lack of food to kill you.
Episode 48, From Beyond the Grave.
Oh, Lord. You would, too. You're that persistent.
I'm back. Yeah, I am. But we are now into February.
Yay.
And you know what that means, guys? It is Black History Month.
Yay!
So we're gonna have some Negro-centered shows this in the next couple weeks.
Is that what we're calling them?
Well, I am in fact a Negro.
Okay.
African American, Black, the spectrum of whatever we call it. Young Cocoa Puff. I don't know.
What?
Whatever.
What even are you talking about now?
The entire gambit of what it means to be Black in America. I'm all of it.
Okay. I always say Black when I'm talking to people because that's the one that doesn't get me side-eye from all of my Black students.
Yeah, like that's the one that gets you. Like that's the one that's like that's the standard. Like as much as we want like African American quote unquote to be the standard, Black is the standard. Like be Black. It's just easy. It's Black.
Well, but I mean,
I got a whole spiel on that, which we may get to.
Okay, I won't go into it. Also, because I'm super white.
Yeah, we may talk about that like later. At some point later on because I got a whole thing for that.
Okay. What, you have a rant about something? No, that doesn't seem likely.
That's when it comes to Blackness.
You don't rant about shit.
Anyway.
What are you talking about?
Quiet you. Anyway, let's move on. Before we get into our Black History stuff in the topic segment, let's move into the news segment. Do you want to go? Or should I go?
I can go. Is yours relevant to the topic segment?
Kinda.
Yeah, mine is a little bit too, but not really.
Well, let's do this. What's yours?
I'll go first. All right, so I was actually going to use this last week. This is a couple of weeks old now, but I, as we mentioned before, did not have a voice last week, and therefore could not do any single thing last week. My news segment is there has been a change in the procedure in the questionnaire that will be used during the 2020 census. That now there will be a 2-part question regarding race and ethnicity.
Interesting.
Yeah, right. So it will no longer and of course this was on NPR when I first heard about it, and so the way it was phrased is nobody, like, on the census now, nobody will be like, it's not going to be enough to say, oh, I'm white, right? This is how they phrased it, right? Like, white is not going to be the entirety of that like piece of information anymore, right? They're going to ask, like, where you're from, like,
right.
where are your origins, which is weird, right?
It's weird, but it makes a lot more sense than. So, some historical background on the census.
Mm-hmm.
What the U.S. government has classified as white, of course, has changed over the years in so many ways, and there are so many ethnicities that the U.S. government considers white, that have in the past have considered white, that we wouldn't consider white. So for the longest time, Arab was classified as white.
Yeah.
According to the U.S. government. So was like Egyptian, which there's a whole thing on why Egyptians were classified as white. Basically, it's pyramids, but that's another thing. So it makes sense that now in the changing world we live in, that classification doesn't work, but like those classifications don't work. Like you can't just say white, because as much as that has changed over the years and how they just kind of lump people at random into the category of white, it just doesn't work. It didn't work in the first place, but
right. Well, and the questions that have been used in the past too, like have included like the Arab population and like the Middle Eastern populations and North African populations, have included them, some of them, in white, right? But has separated out Hispanic, right, to where the white category says white non-Hispanic.
Right.
Despite the fact that a lot of Hispanic people like would socially like be treated as white.
Right.
In any case.
Well, I mean, that's like the stuff for years it's been listed like under like Black African American. It would be like Black African American or Black Hispanic. Because I've actually seen that quite a lot.
Yeah.
Which brings up something I'll talk about in the topic segment, but there's been like a lot of stuff about in the Black community on whether we should count Afro Latinas as Black, Latinx as Black people, and I'm not gonna talk about that right now, but it's another thing I'm gonna get onto later. But yeah, I mean, it makes sense to make those like separations because
sorry, I Googled this and there's an update, but go ahead.
Okay, go on.
Oh, I was going to say that. So originally, like this change that I'm talking about was something that was originally proposed by the Obama administration. Or by the Census Bureau under Obama, to make better distinction of where people's roots actually are, right? Like to separate out these like Middle Eastern and things. But the latest update is as of yesterday, which I had not heard about yet. The latest update is that they're actually going to backtrack on that and go back to the original form of the questions, where it does not allow for, at least in the like multiple choice sections of it, it doesn't allow for options about that. Like the original, the change that was proposed would have, like, under white you could check German, Irish, etc. Under Hispanic, Latino, or Spanish you could check. Under Black or African American you could check if you knew. Although the first option, it should be noted, does say African American, right? That's what the first option under that was. But they all had like check boxes under those categories. But they're and that change was proposed in 2017, and as of last week, that was the change that was going to be made. But this week, they put out a different change that goes back to originally, where it says, there's one that says, are you of Hispanic, Latino, or Spanish origin? And if you say yes, it asks you to specify. It says, what is your race? And then asks you to print in what is most applicable.
Well, and I'll tell you what's interesting. I mean, besides the fact that the Trump administration always has to go back and do the opposite of what the other administration just did, because I'm Donald Trump and I'm fucking petty.
Like, I'm not going to be known for what I actually do, just for the fact that I did exactly the opposite of what Obama did.
He's a bastard. Like, he's just a cunt.
I don't use that word derogatorily.
You know what? Yeah, I knew you were going to say that, and I shouldn't have, but
it's a sexy word. He's a what?
I'll go with, he's a quim.
I don't know what that is.
We'll just go with that. Yeah, it'll work.
Okay. I'll buy that.
But the second thing is, it could be seen, like, going back to the original, it could be seen as the whole let's cement this white cohesion. Yeah. That Trump has been, not Trump, but the administration has been putting forward to, we got to fight back the ethnics and the immigrants and the people who are going to take the country from the white people, because it's white people's country and we just live in it. And
weirdly though, a lot of the people that they're talking about would classify as white the way this question is phrased. Yeah. Right? Like, it specifically says, what is your race? Mark 1. And under white, it says print, for example, German, Irish, English, Italian, Lebanese, Egyptian, etc.
Yeah. Makes sense.
Whatever, guys. Sure thing. Whatever.
Yeah. Fuck those. Like, fuck the government, man.
Yeah. Lol.
Oh my God. Well, and I guess that moves us into mine. And this is actually another fuck the government type scenario.
I think I know what you're gonna say. But you do you.
So this is from like a week or so ago, and this is coming out of Baltimore. Ooh. Baltimore police are currently under investigation for being one of the most corrupt police forces in the country, and that is saying a lot within this nation's police forces.
Oh shit! Which reminds me, there's a thing I should have said about the Memphis Police Department, but okay, sorry.
Well, something tells me to come up, but so they are investigating, especially the Baltimore police drug unit. And basically, the drug unit and the gun task force have been operating as a gang.
What?
Straight up operating as a gang, selling drugs, buying weaponry, racketeering, literally robbing people.
Jesus fuck.
Stories include a corrupt squad stopping a drug dealer at a traffic stop, robbing him of $6,500, then going back to that man's house, taking another $100,000 out of his safe. They would also literally carry around toy guns. So when they shot unarmed people,
Oh, I saw that part of the
mostly
headline.
young black people, yeah, they would be able to plant the guns on them and say, "Oh, look, they had a weapon."
Yeah, no, I read that part. I saw that headline. Jesus Christ.
They also, for the people they suspected to be drug dealers, who many times did not have anything on them and were likely innocent, they would also carry around drugs to plant on them. They were paying. They would pay police informants to plant cocaine on other individuals. So yeah, Baltimore police have basically, they're just running a gang at this point. A gang with badges and police power.
Shit, that's the scariest shit I've heard all day.
We actually, people used to say this all the time growing up. They say the difference between gang members and police officers is that police officers get paid to be gang members and they get a badge for it.
Yeah.
Like, as horrible as that is, and I'm not, and once again, this is not all police officers a bad thing. It's the structure is fucked up, and it's so fucked up that it openly allows for people to be corrupt. It encourages it. Like, it encourages. It doesn't encourage actually helping people. It doesn't encourage stopping crime. It encourages people to be corrupt. It encourages people to go out and do things that they wouldn't probably normally do, but because they have the power and the authority and the ability to do it. They teach police officers to be scared of people. That everyone in the public is their enemy. They underpaid police officers for their job. And police officers have a dangerous job. It is dangerous.
Yeah.
Whether it's from people or being involved in like an accident or something. Like, they have a dangerous job, and they're ridiculously underpaid for them. So when you teach police officers to be afraid, you underpay them. You tell them to target certain people because certain people are more dangerous. And by certain people, I mean ethnic people, black people, Mexican people. You say these people are going to be dangerous and they're the ones going to hurt you. And then you give them authority and weapons. What do you think is going to happen?
Yeah.
Like, discussions have been going on in this country about police and whatever, and people always get into, well, why does everybody just hate the police? And the police aren't bad. The police structure is messed up. The people who are talking like we need to change policing aren't trying to hurt police officers. They're not saying police officers need to be hurt. They're saying that our police structure is bad. It's getting people killed. It's it's forcing people into corruption.
Yeah.
Like, it's giving people, it's forcing people to do things they wouldn't do. Like, I don't know how many stories I know personally of somebody going, oh, well, my son or husband or whatever became a cop and it started out great and then it went downhill. Like, that shouldn't be the case. But story after story after story, that's what happens. And said, I will say there, with all the things that have happened in the past couple of years with the at least news around these unarmed slayings that keep happening, by the way.
Yeah, they haven't stopped.
Just a reminder to people out there not paying attention, they're still shooting unarmed black people in the streets. And unarmed people of all creeds and ethnicities.
Oh man, I don't want to talk about people getting killed by gun violence. You'll get me started on the school shootings then. Grr.
Oh yeah, my God.
Anyway,
but like that needs but with the media focus that has been on these on those slayings, there are more investigations being opened against corruption, and there at least has been more focus to try to stop this type of behavior, to try to change policing. However, with the current administration, back to this motherfucker again,
ugh.
It's having another reversal happening, where they're actually encouraging police to be more corrupt, be more forceful, to actively hurt people.
To the point where, that's explicitly what was said. Did you read that thing where Trump was giving a speech to somebody,
yes,
and he was like, and here we are, this person just committed murder, and the cops are protecting his head from the door frame, putting him in the patrol car, and that was the most horrifically inhumane, callous thing that I have ever heard anybody say.
Yeah, but that's
fuck, dude.
That's what he wants. That's what they're encouraging.
Jesus,
that's what they're encouraging.
I don't understand. And I can't even.
And I would also like to remind people that most policing is done at a state level. Okay, so if you really want to change, to your the policing that's happening in your state, in your area, you go to your state representatives, you dog your governor, you dog your state representatives, you get on them, and you dog your local authorities.
Yeah.
If you want police change, because most policing is done at a state level.
Most government is done at the state and local levels.
Right.
It's all well and good to hammer on about the president, but the
right.
who gets elected at the national level is a symptom of what's going on at the local level. And they have some effect, but not nearly as much as you think about day-to-day life, whereas your local and state governments have an incredibly powerful effect on the day-to-day, actual logistical lives of the people where you live. So get involved at the local level.
That's called federalism, kids. There's a separation between the state and federal governments. Mm-hmm. And you need to know that, because when your president gets on TV and says some crazy shit and gets you all scared, please know that while he may seem untouchable, when he says some stupid shit, his stupid shit is probably not going to have an effect on you, unless what you really need to do, instead of worried about him, you focus on your local people.
Yep. Take them to task, hold them accountable, because they're the ones who really affect what happens in your life.
Very right. And as my constitutional law professor always says, and if they start fucking up, vote the bums out of office.
Yep.
But anyway, I think that's it for my. Also, fuck the Baltimore police force.
Yes. So before we get totally off the news, this thing with the Baltimore Police Department brought up reminded me of a thing that the Memphis Police Department just announced this week, which I think that you saw because Rico posted it, where the police found this week, after 49 days in the impound lot at the Memphis Police Department, 49 days, over a month and a half, found the body of a man in an SUV in the police impound lot. After 49 days.
What the fuck?
Yep.
I didn't see that.
Yeah. After 49 days in the impound lot, somebody finally got around to looking in this vehicle and found that there had been a body in it when they put it in the impound lot.
I mean, this is also the same police force that doesn't investigate their rape kids.
No,
so,
this is the same impound lot that they mysteriously found, like, hundreds of rape kits. Like, they had been misplaced and ended up in the impound lot in a vehicle. Somehow.
Yeah.
Like, no, guys, this is, yeah.
You're just not fucking doing your job. Like,
no, they're not.
You're just not doing your job. And so Memphis, at least in the local area, Memphis always has the bad rep of being, oh, it's so dangerous and oh this and oh that and whatever. The police are just not fucking doing their jobs at all.
At all. The police are not at all doing their jobs. The police need to, like, get their shit together.
Like, goddamn, like we're like this whole like thing is showing two like separate sides of the horrible fucked up policing equation. You have the police that are just not doing anything.
Yeah.
Like just fucking like people getting raped and just people dying and whatever. I'm just not doing shit. And the ones that are just doing the most, they just doing all the wrong shit.
Yep. Yep.
When all the American citizens want is the police to just do their job. Don't do horrible fucked up stuff. Don't not do stuff.
Just do the shit that you're supposed to do.
Do your job.
And you know what? If the police did their fucking job, we wouldn't all be pissed off about them.
Right. If they just do their job, that's what a lot of when people on TV is like. And this is always like when from white supremacists all the time. It's like the black community just doesn't respect police officers. No,
we don't.
The black community respects police officers who do their fucking job. That one or two neighborhood police officers who are always in the neighborhood, always doing their job, that are treating the people they're protecting properly. And who are protecting them, because they do exist. I've seen them. I've met them. Those neighborhood cops that are doing their job, their communities love them.
Yep.
But when cops are out here just being assholes, or not being assholes on one end, or not doing their job on the other end, no, you're not getting any fucking respect. You're not getting any respect. You're not getting it. We're not going to support you. None of that. Do your fucking job, and people won't have a problem with you. They'll like you. They'll support you. When you do your job, the community will actually make your job easier.
Yeah. No shit.
But when you're an asshole, they're not going to make your job any easier. That's like somebody, like one of my relatives, got pulled over recently. And there was claimed that she was speeding. She was going 72 in a 70.
Which,
so
I mean, technically, like...
Technically.
Technically.
By the way, most the way they read it, they have a 2 mile an hour margin of error.
Yeah.
So when someone says you're going 72 in a 70, you would probably no, they can't really. That's not really a thing. But they pulled her over, and the officer pulled her over and asked where you're from. Because her car had out of town tags. And then the second thing out of his mouth was, "Where's your license? And this car is awful nice, isn't it?"
The fuck?
Where'd you get this vehicle?
No, you can't ask that shit.
She drives, for anyone's reference, she drives a vehicle provided by her job, her employment. But yes, no, said, "This is a nice vehicle. Where is it from? Where'd you get it?"
You can't ask that shit.
No, like, this was straight up profiling.
Yeah.
As I was talking to her later, he also went on with the, "Your tint is too dark on your windows." And of course, she was like, "This vehicle is provided by my work. I have no control over that." I started asking all kind of things, and she was just like, "This vehicle is provided by my job."
Jesus Christ.
Oh yeah, it got ridiculous. And gave her 2 tickets. She actually went to the police office to talk about the ticket, because she actually was going to try to actually get them gotten rid of.
Yeah.
And when she got there, one of the other officers goes, "Ma'am, who stopped you? Was it officer insert name here?" And she goes, "Yeah, that was him." He goes, "Ma'am, I'm so sorry. We've had problems with him doing that to people all the time. We've had people come in and complain that he has stopped them, he has profiled them time and time again. He is a problem."
Shit.
So we have officers out there literally doing that. And this is the same area where I had another friend, a Muslim friend, who got profiled and pulled over. This person was asked, "So where are the drugs?"
Excuse me?
Yeah. Remind you this, for this person in particular, this person is a recovering addict. He's been in recovery for years. He stays as far away from drugs as possible.
Yeah, shit.
And he told him that, it's like, "I'm a recovering addict. There are no drugs here. Like, I stay as far away from as possible." He goes, and then the officer told him, "So what you're saying is, on a normal day you'd have gold. So on a normal day you'd probably have some drugs in this car."
What?
Yep.
Jesus Christ. What is that? Fuck that dude. Like, no, asshole. It means on a normal day there's no goddamn drugs.
Yep. See, and like this is what like people are dealing with every day. Like, every day, officers just being assholes. Yet, like, you have all these other, like, conservative douchebags going, "I don't understand why people this hate cops so much. I don't understand why people are mad at cops. Maybe they just want the criminals to win." I mean, no, people are being harassed and mistreated and having guns and drugs planted on them every day by police officers. And we're just supposed to take it?
But yeah,
Man,
sure. Sure, Martha. We're just all pissed off at the police for no reason.
Yeah, Martha.
Martha's my generic Martha's my generic old white lady name.
Like Susan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Except Susan to me reads as explicitly like somebody that you work with. For some reason. Like Susan is that like low-key racist lady at work. Right? Whereas Martha could be anybody.
But Susan and Martha are likely friends. They hang out.
Mm-hmm.
They're
in the church book club together.
Right.
Because of course they're both Christian.
Of course. Why wouldn't they be? Obviously. Anyway, this
Yeah, no, they're
fired up.
definitely friends, but they're different people. Susan's the one at work. Anyway. I don't know where I got that from, but
Susan also, while being racist, does have a Mandingo fantasy.
that is true. That is
Yep.
true. Yeah. No, in specifically in the context of my job, Susan is that person who just thinks that the reason that her students don't succeed is because their parents don't care.
Right.
Like, if only their parents cared enough to make them do stuff, like, they would be fine. Right? Isn't it a shame
they
that
had a father?
Yeah, exactly. Like, isn't it a shame that these kids are hampered by their home lives? Like, no, fuck off, Susan. Fuck off, Susan.
Like, maybe, like, you want, oh my God. Poor Trey over here got a damn learning disability. He's dyslexic and needs help with his dyslexia. Nah, he's just a troubled fuck up kid with a bad home life. Help him.
Yeah. No, I have a specific kid in mind, and I can't come up with a generic. So I have a problem where I can't come up with a generic black sounding name without actually it being the name of one of my students. So that makes me feel bad. Even Trey. I've had like 4 students named Trey in my teaching career.
I'll give you one. Kentrell. You got a Kentrell on you?
I don't have a Kentrell. Anyway, like,
all right.
no, Kentrell, let's say. I'm actually talking about a specific student that I have. This poor kid has like untreated, unmedicated, uncounseled like anxiety and depression that cause him to, like, sometimes he checks out and sometimes he lashes out and sometimes he has anger issues. But every single thing that he does is just a matter of him having a bad attitude.
Of course.
Like, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter that he really just needs some anti-anxiety medication and a few sessions with a counselor, and he would be on a road that would be way better for him. But everything that he does is just something that he needs to fix his attitude, obviously.
That's because black kids and black people, they're not you're not allowed to have mental illnesses.
Yeah.
You are not allowed to have mental illnesses. If you have a mental illness, you are just like, you are fucked up, and it's because you're black, it's because your home life sucks, you're ghetto, that's your problem.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
And also, black people, we can't have bad days. Mental illness and all that aside, you cannot have a bad day.
Yeah.
Because if you have a bad day and show the slightest inkling that you're upset about something, man, look at that nigga with that bad attitude.
Yeah.
Or with the women, she's just an angry ghetto-ass black woman.
Yeah.
You can't have a bad day.
Yep. Yeah, no, this poor kid, he is absolutely, I mean, like, thank you, Keem, for, like, giving me the road trip, like, the handbook for how to like talk to people when they're in a mood. Like, you guys aren't exactly the same, but he is absolutely just baffled that I think I might be the first adult that he's ever interacted with that, like, treats this as if it's an actual thing instead of just him having a bad attitude and, like, having to sit down and focus, right? Like, no, like, you have ADHD and, like, an anxiety disorder. Like, that's a fair thing, right? Like, some days you just need to check out, and I get it. Right? You just have to work extra hard the next day to make sure you covered your stuff. But I know you can do it. Like, I'll give you the day off. Like, just chill. Or like, take care of your shit. And he is completely befuddled that I actually treat this as if it's an actual thing instead of something that he's making up.
That's because people don't, especially black kids. Black kids do not get the benefit of the doubt.
Especially black boys. Yeah.
It's ridiculous. We like there are so many black kids, so many black kids going through so much, and people think people ignore it. They just don't care about it. They leave them and they let them suffer. They let them go through it until their lives are in shambles.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
It sucks.
Oh. Anyway, let's move on into our topic segment.
Yeah, let's do.
After some music.
Yay! So our music today, I actually know who it is in advance this week. Our music today, we're going to plug some of his stuff a little bit later, our music today comes from Jarif Green, who is a local artist here in Memphis. I actually met him while I was out doing a thing with S.J. Bennett, who has been on the show before. I went to one of her shows for her band, The Outcry, and ended up meeting Jarif. And we talked a little bit, and we've hung out a couple of times, and he's a pretty great guy and an awesome musician. Super excited that we are able to feature him today. So we'll give you a little bit more information about him later, but in the meantime, enjoy his music.
Like I think I do, and I can't afford simple thrills, so I treat my money a lot like you do. I would always think that if I would, then I could and I should work for your restaurant. I would always see takes your whole life to hone your craft. Honestly, questions about my history, I wish you won't ask. I would always think that everything would line up so right, without a fighting competition was a silly premonition, but this is life, and it's for the living. I was so sure
welcome back, everyone. And so, as we talked about earlier, it is Black History Month.
Yay!
And as your resident black guy, I think it'd be good to talk about a little bit about Black History Month, why it's important. If you don't already know why it's important.
Yeah, because all of our users, or all of our listeners are super, have no idea why this is an important thing. Obviously.
Yeah. And, just some other little things about Black history and Black History Month and all that stuff. Also, I'm going to propose a name change because I found something better, and we're going to get to that later. Oh, I'll start off by saying, here's something people probably didn't know about Black History Month. Black History Month is not just celebrated in the United States. Did you know that?
I did not know that.
Black History Month is celebrated in the U.S., Canada, the UK, Germany, and the Netherlands.
Huh. The more you know.
It's February in the U.S. and Canada. In other places, it's I think, October? But, yeah, Black History Month is celebrated in other places. But, of course, so why? Why do we have Black History Month? Besides the, obvious. So it started out in 1926.
That old?
Yeah. But it started out in 1926 when historian Carter G. Woodson started what was called at the time Negro History Week, and it was around the week of Abraham Lincoln's birthday and Frederick Douglass's birthday.
Yeah.
So that's where it started. Eventually started gaining traction over the years. But of course the whole idea was that Black history, or in that case for them, Negro history, was pivotal, absolutely pivotal to America and to the U.S. and it needed to be celebrated. It needed to be taught.
Yeah.
Taught out, and especially even outside of. So, a lot of Black history was taught in. This was, of course, during segregation. So it was taught in the Negro schools, but outside of it, most people didn't know anything about Black history. So this was of course, push to basically have the history of Black people in the United States included in the perspective of history.
Yeah.
Simple as that. And it grew from that. I'm not going to give you a whole timeline of how Black History Month came.
I mean, we could be here for a while.
Yeah, we could be here for a while, but that's the point. And so I've mentioned this before, but Black History Month is very important to me because first and foremost in all my studies, it's what I got my degree in and everything, I am a historian. And the history of the people of the African diaspora, so that's all the people who were shipped out of West Africa, and pay attention, out of West Africa. That's important. The people shipped out of West Africa in the transatlantic slave trade to different parts of the world, and mostly the Americas. So North America, South America, Central America, and the Caribbean. And that is also very important to look at the location where these people went. Now, where up to the Netherlands and also UK and stuff, you had travel up there, and that's why Black History Month is also celebrated in those countries. But so the history of the history of descendants of the people who came out of the African diaspora was basically wiped out by slavery. I mean, everybody knows that.
Mm-hmm.
And after slavery, we act like after slavery, once freedom was achieved, and I'm being very careful not to say slaves were given their freedom, because freedom can't be given.
Oh, I have a whole rant about this. Where there was a dude who commented on a thing that said, "What do you mean white privilege? Like, what do you mean by white privilege? Who do you think it was that granted women the right to vote and for who freed the slaves?" And I'm just like, dude,
yeah, no,
you're supporting the opposite statement that you're trying to make here by saying white men did these things, because the implication there is that white men did them because white men have power. Like, anyway,
that's the language we always use, and that's a huge issue. The language we use is women were given the right to vote, and Black people, the African slaves were given their freedom. No, you can't give freedom.
Yeah, no, like,
all right?
Their freedom was recognized by the people who had the most power, which
like saying
you don't give someone rights.
Right.
They have rights.
You're still putting yourself in that bullshit ass position that you do not have. Like, you have it historically because of the bullshit you pulled. Yeah. But it's not your natural position.
Yeah. Yeah, but he was trying to claim, this guy was trying to claim that white privilege didn't actually exist because white people did these things. Like, he was claiming that white male privilege didn't exist because white men gave women the right to vote and white men freed the slaves. And I'm like, you're actually, like, this, first off, your argument is wrong, but also, even if it were right, it supports the opposite statement that you're trying to make.
Like, that's exactly what
like,
privilege
that's exactly
means,
what
fuck.
white male privilege is that they have more power than the other people. Like, that's what we're saying.
It's so ridiculous.
I like face palmed really hard over that one. Anyway, sorry, I kind of distracted from the conversation there for a second.
No, it's fine. It's something we need to talk about. That language is bullshit, and it's the language that we're taught, and it's language that we're taught to use, and even that continues to enforce that bullshit hierarchy. So, hey, people listening, when you talk about that stuff in the future, don't say blah blah blah, free the slaves, because that's bullshit. Okay, don't.
Yeah, there's a lot of ridiculous bullshit out there.
But anyway, a lot of people also seem to think that once freedom happened, Black people just, everything was let the sun shine in, and dance and jamboree. Basically, Black people weren't free. Actually, it can be very much argued that we're not free now.
That would be my assertion. Yeah.
But if we're gonna go in degrees of what is considered free, Black people really didn't get anything resembling actual rights until 1964.
Yep.
So when we talk about Black history and stuff, I want people to realize that the observation that Black people were even contributed to the history of the United States didn't even really come until about 50 years ago.
And yet,
So
white
it's
people
not-
are like, "OMG, slavery was so long ago. Get over it already."
Right.
Lol. No,
Right.
that's not actually how that
Like
works.
it was in the past. It was so long ago. No, it really wasn't. It really wasn't that long ago at all. And like you act like you're still not. You're not feeling the effects from it. When, like I said, black people didn't get any like semblance of human rights until 1964, and we're still like we're barely eking out any kind of humanity now.
Yeah.
I mean, we're still getting belittled and killed and kept in lowest positions in society and basically enslaved. Because if you look at the prison industrial complex,
I am that teacher. I like how suddenly I've decided that I'm just talking about my day job on the podcast just openly. I don't care. I'm that teacher who, like, I sit and have conversations with my kids and I'm like, oh, you know what that amendment actually says? About how that
Jesus.
amendment actually says, like, shall not be enslaved except what's the actual phrasing of it, Keem? You know.
if you wouldn't have asked me this, I would have been told you because we literally went over it earlier this week.
I know.
Also, I would also like to point out something interesting about the Constitution, and this is what I want everyone to remember listening to this. Some constitutional truth right here. The Constitution only applies to the federal government.
Yeah.
Doesn't apply to the states. So when you hear stories of, well, the states didn't remove slavery from their books until so-and-so, or Mississippi didn't remove slavery from their books until like 3-4 years ago. That's because those amendments apply to the federal government. States still can pull racist shit as much as they want.
Yeah. Oh, I looked it up, by the way.
challenged.
I looked it up, by the way. Now, I say this all the time to my students. I can't believe I forgot the exact phrasing of the amendment. 13th Amendment, neither slavery nor involuntary servitude except as a punishment for crime.
Right.
Like, it's not that slavery's been abolished. It's that you have to be convicted of a crime before the federal government can allow you to be enslaved.
And that's still the federal government.
Yeah.
Like, that's federal.
Mm-hmm.
They ain't stopping the states from doing shit. So, guys, like, we still in a fight. Like, we ain't free. Like, the battle ain't over. No, nowhere near. Like, and this is another reason why African American history and Black history is important. They don't teach you that shit in history class.
They do not. Nope.
They tell you 13, 14, 15. Freed the slaves, gave them votes, due process.
Mm-hmm.
That's what they teach. And everything was hunky dory. Lincoln came down from the sky. Their eyes have seen the glory of the coming of the Lord and saved everything.
Uh-huh. Yep.
But no. Just about everything you learned in history is bullshit. Everything you learned in history is to spin a narrative to keep you in love with the idea of America,
mm-hmm.
and keep you complacent.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And Black history is important to that because the deeper you look into the history of Black people in the United States, especially, that narrative falls apart.
Yep.
And the deeper you look into Black history, the more you realize that There is no American history without black people. Everything in this country, everything you enjoy, everything that you hold dear as being an American citizen, every bit of history you've learned, all the good things that you think about America are all tied directly to black people.
Mm-hmm.
All these racist, like, white supremacists out here talking, let's make America great again bullshit. America ain't shit without us.
Yep.
Everything you think is great about America is because of black people. The labor this country was built on, black people. Inventions from refrigerators to toilets to light bulbs.
Yep.
Because Edison invented the filament.
Yep.
Not the light bulb.
Edison's a sucker anyway. Fuck Edison, man. Fuck Edison.
Fuck Edison. The food we eat. Do you people talk about who was it?
George Washington Carver.
Yeah, George Washington Carver.
I know
always get him and Benjamin Banneker crisscrossed.
Yeah.
But people don't realize that Carver, first of all, he did not just do stuff with the peanut. He did stuff with all kinds of other plants. But that revolutionized the way we eat, the way we get nutrition.
Yep.
Like I said, refrigerators, stoplight, light bulbs. Black women are responsible for putting a man on the moon.
Yes. Which we finally know about because they made a movie about it. Well done.
Right. It took forever.
Yep.
Going back, the first person killed in the Revolutionary War was a black man. The first non-native person to set foot in Texas was a black slave.
Yep, that holds up.
Once again, Revolutionary War. The Battle of Yorktown was won because of information passed by a slave who was working as a spy.
Yep.
Everything. Music. Oh my God. There would be no American music if it wasn't for black people.
That is 100% true. That is
like,
I fucked my kids up last year when I was teaching them about, like, we were tracing the history of American music, and they're like, where does rock and roll come from? Okay, let's talk about it. And they were like, wait, what is this? What is this? And I was like, yeah, guys, this is how this works. They were so confused. It was great.
Yep. Like, just about everything, not just about everything we hold like quintessential in American life and American history. Everything. There is a black person behind it. And which brings me to what I was saying earlier about why I think there needs to be a name change for black history.
Mm-hmm.
Because first of all, there's no such thing as black history. Black history is history. That's it. We are a unbreakable. You can't take us out. You can't separate it. Nothing. It is an irreplaceable part of history. We would not be here today. We would not have any of the things that we celebrate if it wasn't for black people. So you can't separate it.
Yeah.
You can't separate it and say, this is the month, this is, we look back and look at all the things as black history. No. You can't do that. It should be and deserves to be, because it is taught with all year round, emphasized all year round. Every part of every school's curriculum. It should be every day.
Yes, it should be.
Because Everyone needs to recognize that. So there should be a change to Black History Month. It shouldn't be Black History Month. The Netherlands have a better name for it.
Yeah, what did they say?
They call it Black Excellence Month.
Ooh, I like that.
And I like that a whole lot better.
Yeah.
Because Black history should be a part of everyday life. But if you're gonna celebrate, if you're gonna spend a month celebrating something, let's celebrate Black excellence.
Yes.
Not just we're a part of history and we're a part of the world and we're a part of America, that we are excellent. We are incredible. We shape the world. We make it what it is. And that no one would be who they are if it wasn't for Black excellence.
Yes.
That's why, and we're going to, in a couple episodes, we're going to talk about Black Panther. We already got that planned.
Yes, we do. We have a guest on for that one too, by the way, listeners. Rico's going to come on and talk about that one with us. Ooh, I need to confirm with him. But yes, we're going to talk about it.
That's why I love what Marvel is doing with Black Panther right now. And I love the feeling that it's giving Black people in America right now.
Yeah.
Because Marvel is pitching this movie as a celebration of Black excellence. And from what I've heard from the plot, I'm not going to spoil anything, but the plot actually tackles some difficult things, not about just Blackness around the world, but being Black and American. Even
Surprise,
though
it's
T'Challa,
Marvel.
but T'Challa is African. He's not American. But the main villain, Eric Killmonger.
That's a little on the nose.
Comics, of course. They explain a little better. In the comics, his name is Eric Killmonger. That's his last name. But in the movie, his name is like Eric Davis or something, and he is a former soldier they called the Killmonger.
Okay.
So a little less on the nose, but still on the nose.
Still pretty fucking on the nose.
But Eric Killmonger is an African American. He is not Wakandan.
Okay.
At least not in the traditional sense. So this movie tackles some important questions, not, like I said, not just about African culture, but about what it means to be Black in America and confronting your African past or African history. And I am really glad Marvel's pushing that, and I am really glad that this Black Panther is important right now because it's giving Black people in America something that we do not get very often, and that is a chance to celebrate Black excellence and to have Black excellence be the forefront, to be the American mainstream. That has not happened. Actually, I'm going to say that has never happened.
That sounds right, actually, yeah.
Yeah. Black excellence has been popular. I would say that. It's been popular, but it has never been the American mainstream. It is always counterculture. It is always counterculture until it's adopted by white people.
Yeah, that holds up.
Let's just be real. Until it's adopted and whitewashed, it is always counterculture. But this is the first time that something that is so very, very overtly Black is out front and in the mainstream. It has caught America's attention. It is being pushed. It is right now. It is the largest. Opening that Marvel is on Marvel projection right now. It has sold more tickets pre-sale than any other Marvel movie.
which is amazing.
It is the height. It is the current height of American pop culture, and that is something that has never happened. That is something that's never happened, which honestly scares me a lot.
Why?
So it opens next Friday, and I will be going next. It opens next Thursday, actually.
Yeah.
It's bought out everywhere. It's gonna be a whole spectacle because black people are loving it.
Yes.
And should. And even me, I'm going on Friday during the matinee during the day, and I am going out decked out. I'm gonna have my leather coat on. I'm gonna be fly as fuck going in the middle of the goddamn day. Okay, because I'm gonna be black and excellent when I go see Black Panther.
Yes, you are.
But with that being said, it scared the shit out of me, and this is one of the main reasons I'm not going on opening night. It's because, like I said, this is the first time that blackness has been black excellence has been so mainstream, and so popular, and so in everyone's face. And there's been a strong current of white supremacy and black hate in this country for the past couple years. And I am so worried that someone is going to take this opportunity to go to one of these theaters filled with black people who are celebrating themselves, who are celebrating black excellence, who are getting the experience for the first time, something that makes them feel so excellent in their blackness in America. And somebody's going to take this opportunity to go in there and hurt people. That scares me so bad. Not just for my own life, because like I said, I'm not going to opening night. It's too many people for me, first of all, but that worries me. But I'm afraid for whoever's there, just to be real. Like, because people, this is unprecedented.
Yeah.
It is. Like, people don't understand. A lot of people want, it's just a movie. No, it's unprecedented. This is an unprecedented, like, cinematic event for black people.
Yeah. You know who I'm afraid for.
Anybody who's trying to pull that shit and don't get.
No. You know who I'm really afraid for?
Who?
Every single kid whose parents are like, finally, an opportunity to show my kid an example of black excellence. There's going to be a bunch of people who take their kids out on opening night. And if something does happen, there's going to be kids there.
Well, I mean, people are buying out theaters. Celebrities are buying out theaters.
Yeah.
Specifically for black children.
Yeah. Like this is something that black kids need to see.
Right.
But everybody knows. Everybody who's paying attention knows that this is something that black kids today need to see. There's way too much negative shit going around, and they need to see something positive. They need to see, it's time, right? It's time for there to be something positive. And it's finally happening. And everybody knows that kids need to see it. So if anything happens on opening night, there will be kids in the audience. There will be. And that sucks.
That is so worrisome.
Yeah. Like I've got students who have been who they haven't shut up about this movie. They're going opening night.
My family is they're not going opening night, but my family and my nieces are going to see Black Panther. Like that.
I fucking hope so. If your sister doesn't take them, I'm gonna drive down and take them. Shit, I should drive down and go see it with them. Shit, I should do that.
You should get in touch with her.
I will. I should go see that with those kids. Man, I love your nieces. They're so great. I love your nieces.
I'm glad you do.
I do.
I love
right.
you.
They're great.
little bugaboos.
They're monsters.
That's a
They're
racial slur. I didn't mean it like that. But anyway, so I just want to say for everybody going to see Black Panther, opening night, opening weekend, be very careful.
Keep your eyes peeled.
Enjoy yourself. Yeah, enjoy yourselves. Keep your eyes peeled. If someone looks sketchy, like I'm not all for profiling, okay? But if someone looks sketchy, because you can tell.
If you see a white dude who doesn't look ecstatic to be there,
right,
be aware.
And let me tell you, comic book fans, they're gonna be a lot of white comic book fans there, and they're gonna be fucking excited. They're gonna be just excited as the black people there.
Yes.
Because comic book fans love comic book movies. So if there's a white guy there who looks nervous as all fuck and is not ecstatic, and especially if he's not wearing if he's wearing something that if he doesn't look excited and he's not wearing a comic book shirt.
Yeah.
Don't trust him. Yeah, be advised. I mean, you ain't got to confront him, but you just keep an eye out. Be like, hey, brother, like, you all right tonight? You don't have to be like, hey, get out of here, but you can be like, hey, how you doing tonight, brother? You all right? We cool?
I would not say that, but that's just me.
Mommy,
mostly because that would make me sound ridiculous.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like black folks out there tonight. If you see somebody, if you see a dude that looks like James Holmes, the dude from the Joker shooting, introduce yourself. You go check him out. You can introduce yourself. He'd be cool. Like, hey, bro, what's up? Are you all right? You gonna be all right tonight? How you enjoying the movie? You ready to see this? And if he can't answer those questions, I'm just saying. Anyway, but yeah, black excellence. That's what this is all about. So that's my proposition. My proposition. Black History Month. We changed to Black Excellence Month. But yeah, this. I'm excited. I'm excited for Black Panther. I'm excited for Black Excellence, and we should, like I said, start celebrating Black Excellence. And before I go, when I say Black Excellence, okay, that doesn't mean you need to be wearing Egyptian headdresses.
You're going to do this right.
It doesn't mean you need to be trying. That doesn't mean you need to be trying to speak Kenyan. Okay, talking about your ancestors and shit.
I mean, unless you're really interested in the language that they speak in Kenya. First off, I'm pretty sure it's not Kenyan.
Right. If you're trying to grab hold to some Kenyan stuff because it's your ancestors, which you're probably not. If you're African American, you're not Kenyan.
Probably not. I mean, probably not.
Unless you're quite literally an African American immigrant.
Yeah. Or somebody in your recent history was.
Right.
But I'm not judging people for thinking that linguistics are cool.
Right.
Like, languages are super cool, guys. If you want to learn a language, don't not learn the language just because of this. But also, like...
Right. Like, don't be ridiculous.
Don't let Keem language shame you.
I'm not. This is not about language. It's about two things. So I've been having arguments with people a lot recently over appropriating African culture.
Yes,
and I've talked about this before.
Yes, you have.
But African Americans, if you are a descendant of the African diaspora, you come from West Africa. That's a whole side. That's a side of the continent. So trying to claim shit from the rest of the continent as your ancestors and we was kings, that culture and those cultures from those countries and those peoples, those are not yours.
Also,
They're
like,
not
statistically, like, how many kings did any one civilization actually have?
right.
Like,
And
statistically, probably not.
That's my second thing on the I'm gonna have three things on this one. On the we was kings and we was queens crowd. No, we weren't. Just to be real, we weren't. If you are the descendant of the African diaspora, then more than likely your ancestors were not kings and queens. More than likely, the reason they were even slaves in the first place is because somebody else was king and queen. And when Europeans came, Europeans went, hey, we're going to give you these things. What can you give us? And the kings and queens went, here, take these slaves.
Yeah.
The narrative that slavers went in and just kidnapped people from like tribes and stuff, that was generally not the case. I'm going to say it again. That was not the case. Most European slavers didn't go in to villages and just kidnap people. That was too difficult. That would have taken too much manpower, and they would have gotten killed. What happened was there were multiple cultures and multiple ethnicities in those areas. Those people often went to war with one another. The conquerors took the conquered as slaves.
Yeah.
And when Europeans came for trading, the kings and queens traded the conquered. And that's what you're descended from. Let's be real about that history, okay? So coming from the we was kings, it's nice to grasp onto that. It makes you feel better, but it's not true. Now there is a rich background there, and there's a rich background in those areas, and maybe in far ancient West Africa, in ancient Ghana or ancient Mali, that one of your ancestors may have been related to a king or a queen. But the idea that all of a sudden Europeans came to Africa and took kings and queens and made them slaves, or took African royalty and made them slaves, is not true. They took slaves and made them slaves. And the kings and queens, guess where their descendants are right now? They're still in Africa. Because they could stay. They had the wealth to stay. Because that's what this is all about. It's about capitalism. It's about trade.
Everything in the world is about capitalism.
Right. So I hate to bust the woke hotep bubble, but I'm sorry. We was kings and we was queens. You weren't. But that doesn't take away from your value. Your value doesn't come from your ancestors. Your value comes from you. Your value comes from what you are. It shouldn't be we was kings, we was queens. We are kings and queens. Not because of what our ancestors are, but because of who we are, what we've gone through, what we've fought through. And that's one of the issues that I have with black people, always trying to go back and grasp some fictitious African like royal history for themselves. Because we've, as African Americans, as Black Americans, we've gone through so much. We fought through so much. We fought through slavery. We fought and continue to fight the white supremacist power structure. We fight every day. Our scars are badges of honor. We are great for what we go through. We are great for what we fight. We don't have to pull back from some royal background because we are warriors. We are warrior kings and queens, not because of what our ancestors are, but what we are, what our parents went through, what our grandparents fought through. We are diamonds from the pressure and the heat our history has put us through.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what we should be proud of. That's Black history. That's Black excellence. So that's where I fall on that. That's where I fall on Black history, African appropriation. And by the way, I've studied African culture. I've studied it extensively. And Africa is a very diverse place. If you want to go study African history, very diverse, very interesting. All the different cultures, all the different peoples. It's amazing. I encourage you go look in African history. Just if you like history. But that's where I fall on all that. Sorry.
Don't apologize for that.
That's my spiel. I was trying to think of was there anything else I wanted to say. But yeah, be proud. Also, and I'll talk one more thing. I'll probably get on this later. Actually, I'll save this. I'll save this for next week. Save for next week. And save for next week.
Okay.
But yeah, be proud of who you are. Be proud of Black excellence. Be proud of Black history. Be proud of the scars. Be proud of the battle. Be proud of what you've gone through personally and throughout your family and your family's history or your people's history. That is your badge of honor. That is what makes you great. That is what makes you a hero. That is what makes you excellent. Be excellent and be proud of excellence. And I'm done. And I guess with that, we're going to move into the sex segment after some more music.
Yay! So like I said, we've got music today is provided by Jarif Green. And I've got a couple of things that he has asked me to promote. So he's been doing a lot more stuff recently in Memphis here. He's got a show coming up on the 21st at the High Tone. Look him up. I'll provide links for it on the show notes, but look it up. That's in Memphis here. And then on March 10th, he is releasing his first album, and he's having a release album party and show that day on March 10th at the Young Avenue Deli. He's got some people coming in from Columbus, Ohio to open for him. But that is definitely going to be worth checking out. I have been talking with him. We might be doing a artist interview. We haven't done. Oh my God, it's been so long since we've done an artist interview. Jesus,
it has been a while.
It has been a really long time. That was never really a consistent thing, but in any case, I was talking to him, and we might be doing. He might be able to do an artist interview with us here coming up in a week or so, or a couple of weeks coming up, sometime hopefully before his album release. That'd be really cool. But I wanted to make sure to mention those things and enjoy some new music from Jarif Green. All right, everybody, and welcome back to the sex segment. Thank you again to Jarif Green for providing our music today. You are awesome. We're glad that you agreed to let us play your music. So today on the sex segment, I'm taking it in a little bit different direction. Just because I have been feeling really weird about myself lately. But I wanted to talk about letting go of expectations within like your sex life. So it's a little bit different direction than I normally do, right? And so for a little bit of context, so anybody who listens to our show regularly, I'm sure is not surprised to hear that I've been having like weird gender stuff lately. Whatever. It's a thing. Anyway, it's a thing. But one of the ways that that's been showing up lately has been I've been having a lot of weird discomfort about myself and like my body specifically with regards to sex, which has been making any sort of regularity and like confidence in my sex life really difficult, which I think part of it, is that I have not had a regular partner in a really long time. Whereas it's been literally it's been close to a decade since I've not had a partner like that I could have sex with if I wanted to have sex with a partner, right? But like right now, that's not so much an option for me right now, just with the way my life is. But that and the weird gender stuff that I've been having have been making it feel really weird to think about having a sex life. Sorry, this got really confessional all of a sudden. I love you guys. Thanks for sticking with me through this. But what I'm saying, the point that I'm saying is that my sex life right now, even though I don't have a partner, right? Like even my solo sex life is very, very different from what it has been at previous points in my life. And that was really causing me a lot of distress earlier this week, right? Like I was really, really stressed out about this change. This is something that is completely new to me, and I've never experienced anything quite like this before. And part of it seemed that it was related to my gender stuff. Like it seemed like some manifestation of some kind of dysphoria with regards to the gender stuff. But like I was really, really distressed about myself as a sexual being. And then the last couple of days, I've sort of been letting go of that and realizing and remembering that everyone changes all of the time. Nobody stays the same all of the time. And that's good, right? But also, like, it's normal to have different levels of like sexual interest and sexual desire and all of this at any given point in your life. And there's dozens of factors that can play into that. And so expecting that you will be exactly the same throughout your entire life is going to set you up for the kind of distress that I was feeling, right? Where I was feeling, one of the things that was playing into that was I was feeling, well, I always have felt this way, so why don't I feel this way now? And that was part of why I was so upset about it, is because I was expecting to feel one way, but I was feeling some other way, and that was really, really distressing to me. So, but yeah, so that all leads into, I wanted to talk about how having a successful sex life means a lot of letting go of expectations. Does that make sense? Am I making any sense, Keem?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, you remember what I told you earlier this week?
Oh, remind me. What did you tell me?
I said it's like an equation with different variables.
Oh yeah, that's right.
And variables always change.
Yes.
And you change with those variables. Your equation may come out to a different solution, but it's constantly evolving, constantly changing.
Yes. Yeah,
And it changes with whatever variables you have.
You did tell me that. But yeah, so that's one of the things that I wanted to talk about with this regards to like expectation. And right, and this has come up a lot on the blogs that I read too, right? Where it can feel, especially like as you're changing from one phase of your life into another phase of your life, which you can safely say like that's one of the things that I'm doing right now is I'm changing my life situations, and like I feel like I'm changing dramatically as a person in the last couple of years, right? Like it is unreasonable to expect that you would feel the same way about sex throughout every stage of your life. That's an unreasonable thing to assume, right? But if you're holding on to that expectation, it can feel really, really distressing and unnerving if you don't hold on to that same situation throughout your entire sex life, right? And so, but that's something that I'm reminding myself, right? Is that having that expectation is setting you up for failure or setting you up for distress and for discomfort. When in reality, like there's no, like it should be the only expectation that you should have is that you will continue to change because hello, welcome. Life is change. I don't know if you know.
Right.
But even within that, so I've been reflecting lately, and this is actually going back several months, right? I have noticed that having even like outside of my little personal crisis that I'm having right now, having any kind of expectation about a particular sexual encounter is kind of setting you up for at best some disappointment, right? Like it may, like you can go into a particular encounter expecting anything really, but that actual encounter may or may not align with what you're expecting. And if it doesn't, having that solid expectation beforehand can be disappointing. And so you're setting yourself up for disappointment, having an expectation going in instead of just letting everything be open and letting it play out as it goes. And I noticed that, golly, how many months ago was that? Like 3.5 months ago. I went with one of my partners to an event, and it was the first time that we had seen each other for a really, really long time. And because it had been so long since we'd seen each other, I had this idea in my head. I'm not going to go into specifics because Keem knows who I'm talking about, and that would be weird. But I had an expectation in my head of what I wanted to do. And then when we actually got into it and started had sex, the things that I had in my brain that I wanted to do were not really working on that particular day, just due to the logistics and like the variability of like what bodies do on any given day. And it was just not going to work for us. And I had to fight off a little bit of disappointment, which was completely caused by my own expectation going into that situation, right? Like if I had gone into that with more openness and more flexibility and said, I just want to have sex with you, whatever that looks like for us today, I would have come out of that situation with a lot less disappointment. But instead, I had a very clear idea in my head of how I wanted to have sex, and then it didn't work for us that day, that whole weekend. We never did make it happen, which was, and because I had gone in with that rigid idea of what I wanted, I was a little bit disappointed that didn't happen. And like, I mean, we have great sex anyway, right? Like after the fact, I was like, okay, objectively, the sex that we had was good because we have good sex, because we can communicate with each other and it's fine. But I still, even though we had great sex, I was still disappointed that the thing that I wanted didn't happen. because I wanted it so badly going into it. So, and this is a challenge, right? Like everybody wants things all the time. And it's a challenge to not want things like that. But being so committed to one version of a thing, especially with sex, right, where there's so many variables at play, right, including people's emotional well-being, their physical health, their like even like the variabilities of like just normal stuff that happens within bodies, right? Like depending on where I am in my menstrual cycle, like things may or may not be possible, right? There's just so many variables that go into things that to expect that one thing will be possible is setting yourself up for disappointment, which can put a negative spin on an otherwise perfectly satisfactory, like otherwise perfectly like pleasurable, intimate moment. Like this can cause, like, can cast a shadow over that when it doesn't need to. If you were able to let go and just let things be what they are.
Let it, like some Beatles once said, just let it be.
Let it be, right? There's no reason to expect that things will conform completely to what you expect. And thinking that they will is gonna cause more disappointment than not. Just because humans are unpredictable. Like, our emotions are unpredictable, our attitudes are unpredictable, our lives are unpredictable, our bodies are unpredictable. Like, there's no way of guaranteeing that you can expect one single thing to be possible all of the time, or that thing will be possible on demand, or whatever, right? There's no reason to expect that. And so thinking that might be disappointing to you.
See, but this is where my I don't know what word I'm looking for. My outlook on life is oddly beneficial.
Yeah.
Because when it comes to most things, I don't expect anything.
Yeah.
Like I'm you know me. I'm just the type of person that I expect things to go wrong.
Yes, that's true.
So like in that case, I don't really expect something. Like I don't expect my wants to happen. So I don't experience like I don't experience disappointment the same way, I guess. Because like I don't get disappointed as easily because I've kind of already set myself up for like I'm probably going to be disappointed anyway. So whatever I get, it's always good. So cause it's like I'm going to be disappointed anyway. Like I'm not going to get what I want. So when I get something, I'm just like, I appreciate it because things could have gone horribly wrong. And anytime something doesn't go horribly wrong, it works.
I love you.
That's why I'm super appreciative. Like I try to be appreciative of everything. So
I will say, y'all, I've been in a relationship with Keem for 2 years and a couple of months. He is super appreciative about things. It's great. It's very easy to be your partner, Keem. You never let me forget how much you appreciate me. It's very good for my ego.
What I do.
It's very good for my ego.
That's I will say, like, I've had to, and this is definitely not on the same level as what you're like. I mean, the changes you're going.
I will say this is an extremely broad like topic. Like, don't put my experiences up on like whatever, right?
I know.
This is a very
I'm just saying, like,
okay.
I've had to deal, like, when it comes to sexual stuff, I've dealt with recently, and probably not the best, but while my partners and I've always been a distance away from them.
Yeah.
I am now very far
So far
from them, and I've been having a lot of issues dealing with like not being like not even just like not being sexual, like not being able to have sex or have any kind of sexual contact, but the lack of physical anything.
Yeah.
Completely, and it's have to. It's had to make me rethink myself a lot, and it's been difficult. Esme can definitely attest to my difficulties.
Yes.
But I've had to make some changes. I will say one of the changes has been I've had to become more variant with self sex. So I actually bought a sex toy. Remember I told you I got one of those Tingas.
Yay! Because Tenga's awesome. Tenga, guys, okay, I wasn't going to talk about sex toys today, but Tenga is one of those toys that makes me wish I had a cock. They're great. I love them. They're so cool. They're so cool.
Look, because I've had to learn, like, masturbation, like, just regular, my regular masturbation does nothing for me. Like, it scratches the itch, but it just makes me angry afterward.
Uh-huh.
Like, because it's because it's not what I want. Like, it's like I like sex for me is like it's of course not just about the like physical act, well, not just about the act of releasing, but it's about the contact, the human contact.
Yeah. No, I get that.
So I've had to figure out a way to like at least get a new sensation out of it.
Ooh, which reminds me, you remember how a while ago we talked about giving each other sex toys for Valentine's Day?
Yep.
I have yours picked out. I have to order it and send it to you.
I'm gonna have to move yours to a later date.
That's fair.
Because money issues.
That's fair.
But
that's
also
fair.
being broke as fuck can do things to your sex life.
What? No. That's not a thing.
But I digress.
At
But
the
yeah,
moment, being broke as fuck doesn't do anything to my sex life because it's probably close to $1,200 worth of sex toys at this point. Just like chilling. I have them, they're just chilling.
I do wish there were more affordable things that I liked sex toy wise.
I've got one. It's going to be on the way. FYI. I think that you will like it a moderate to large amount.
Well, I definitely hope so.
Also, I'm super excited about it. I've never seen anything like it before, and I really, really want to know what you think of it. Anyway, so what was the point of the sex segment? Oh, the point of the sex segment was that like have some grace, right? With yourself, with your partners. Don't have such a rigid idea of what you want or what you need that you end up like shooting that experience in the foot and not being able to enjoy it for what it is, right? Going into it with too much expectation can make it so that you don't enjoy the great experience that you could be having because you're so hung up on the experience that you're not having.
Right.
Right.
Be flexible.
Be flexible.
Be as the river.
Yes. How very Taoist of you. Um, and if you're like me, right? Like your sexuality and your everything that's tied up in that, like your identity and your experiences and everything are so fluid over time and subject to change that it's unreasonable to expect that it'll be the same it'll be the same throughout your entire life, right? So it does no good comparing yourself now to yourself 6 months ago or 5 years ago or whatever length of time ago. Experience what you're experiencing now. If it's really, really, really distressing for you over a sustained period of time, talk to your doctor, talk to a mental health professional about it, because you might be able to have some resources that way. But the first thing that you should do is to recognize that these things are subject to change over time, right? Like, you are not going to remain the same person throughout your entire life, and that's good. So whatever your reality is now won't be the same throughout your entire life. But also, like I said, if it's really causing you a significant amount of distress, talk to a healthcare professional about it. There might be something else going on too. There might be something that can be done about it medically or counseling wise. So talk to people about it, but don't freak out about it, if that makes any sense, right? Does that make sense? Do I make sense?
That makes sense.
Okay.
Yeah, you make sense.
Okay. So like you can talk to professionals about it, but don't let it be so overwhelmingly distressing to you. It's only a piece of who you are. And
right.
And these things are subject to change over time. So anyway. And also go into every sexual encounter that you have, whether it's with a partner or by yourself or with multiple people, go into every encounter that you have with the openness to let that encounter be what it is, instead of imposing an idea of what it should be. And you will most likely gain more satisfaction out of that than if you are comparing it to your idealized experience or a past experience or some external idea of what that experience should be.
I can honestly say being more open and fluid to just experiencing, my life has become rather interesting, to say the least.
To say the least. Yes.
So, yeah, I agree with that advice.
Aw, thank you. I love it when you agree with me.
Doesn't happen very often. No. All right, I think that brings us to the end of our show. Wouldn't you say so?
I would say so.
Before I close it down, I'd like to give a shout out. A former guest that we had on the show, Ethan, from a few episodes back, he actually has started a new venture that I would like to plug for you all. So, I know plenty of us, maybe not our New York listeners, because a lot of you don't have vehicles, but I know a lot of our listeners have to deal with the DMV. You know, your license goes out, you lose your license, or
oh my God,
whatever.
Somebody very important to me just had a really terrible DMV experience.
And the DMV sucks.
The DMV sucks so hard.
Sucks. Yeah, like, there's no doubt that going to DMV is a hassle and a chore.
It's a universally bad experience.
Right, it's terrible. But that's why Ethan, and his friend have come up with dmvless.com. That is dmv-less.com. And this helps take some of the hassle out of going to the DMV. You can get information you need that you would normally get from DMV. All types you can get, and all type of other services that will help make going to the DMV a lot less of a hassle. And I know we, like, anybody who has to deal with that garbage needs that. You can also check them out on Facebook. But you can check them out on Facebook. You can check them out on the website. But go try out this service. They're trying to get it off the ground. It's something that I know people need. Because, god damn, the DMV sucks.
Yeah, also, side note, Keem keeps promoting these people who are extremely deserving of our promotion, but also who are broke because they're trying to get their ventures off the ground. But I bet if you support them, they will make some money, and then they can pay us for these plugs, and then we can make some money. So go support these people so that they can pay us.
Right.
Sorry, I sound a lot like a capitalist lately. I apologize for that.
These are free ads to help people.
Yeah.
But if we support people, then they can support us, and then we can do other nice things.
Yes. Then we can afford some actual decent microphones. So guys, if you're tired of having our shitty ass microphones, support our people that we are supporting so that they can pay us for the advertising that we give them.
Yes, please.
This is a really convoluted business prospect. I feel like we could do this in a better way.
But yes, go to dmvless.com. Check them out. Check them out on Facebook. I'll post links in the description of the episode. Go check them out.
Yes.
Hashtag ad. Once again, we'd like to give a special thank you to our musical guests. You will be hearing more from them in the very near future, I would guess.
Yes.
Once again, links in the description for any information you may need. If you would like to be on our show or like to come talk with us, please contact us. If you're a musician who would like to have your music featured on the show, please contact us. We love having people on. And we're always looking for more guests for more interesting stuff in the future. Yay! So I guess that's the end of our show. So, as always, this has been Keem and Esme, and on behalf of all Black excellence, we are out.
But there are these things that matter, and they really fucking matter. There's like 4 things that matter, and they really fucking matter. I mean, objectively, I mean, you should care, especially you, if you thought about it for 5 fucking minutes.